I mean, we get sent a lot of independent short films. She's worse than anyone I've ever seen in the... It's not being sort of, hyperbolic or anything. She's the worst actress I've ever seen in a film.
Well, do you think, because if Michael Bay is as cynical as he sounds, he chose a terrible actress to sort of make Shia LaBeouf's acting slightly better?
I don't think it would have been his decision at all.
No.
He
was like, just get someone fit.
All the
someone British.
He doesn't care. He doesn't have anything to do with it. He just gets a badly written script and directs it terribly. And so, basically, the way that she's treated, you can't even really see what she looks like until halfway into the film. Yeah. Because every time she's on film, the camera drops like the tongue of an adolescent teenager at her bottom. And she never wears anything more than a really skimpy skirt and a little sort of boob tube thing. And I'm pretty sure that you don't even find out her name until halfway
the credits.
Yeah. And so, she is. He's a bit annoyed because he saved the world twice, and he keeps going on about that. And he can't get a proper job. And she's got this amazing job working for this cybernetics organization or whatever. And he is a little bit threatened by her boss, who's sort of better looking than him and really rich and showers her with gifts. And I'll just play you the one promotional clip that they give out with this film.
And he's the coolest guy ever.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sam. Dylan Gould.
Hey. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you. Carly's told me a lot about you.
Well, vice versa. It's a beautiful building you got. It's like the Starship Enterprise in here.
Thank you very much. It leaks. Before Carly came to help run the collection, it was just a complete mess. But now the restorations are back on track. We're going to Pebble Beach this year. We're going to get a trophy for that stand right there. You know why? Because this woman right here is my secret weapon.
Mr. Gould, please, you exaggerate. All I've done is get you organized.
Oh, you have done much more than that, my Duchess.
Nicknames, that's fun.
Yeah, the Duchess.
And that is the exposition, the whole exposition to the film, for the 2.5-hour film.
Right.
That's the most dialogue-heavy bit. That's obviously the one piece of promotional material they've released because it's the only bit where you get people talking. I mean, you can't do anything silently. It's still got an annoying backing track, like every single dialogue, but it's the only one that doesn't sound like this. So that's what the whole film sounds like, okay? Right. That really annoying... But just imagine watching that in a packed IMAX screening with not a spare seat. And, sorry, my phone...
That's twice it's gone off.
I'm sorry about that. That's what the whole film sounds like. And let's just try and talk over that, and I'll give you an idea of how hard it is to hear any dialogue. So, Edward, this is basically what it sounds like for the whole film!
It's very hard!
What?
It's quite hard to hear what you're saying. You're shouting.
I know! And this is what it sounds like! This is how every line in the film is delivered!
It's shouted.
Okay, and that was basically the problem with the first two, and it's never been more apparent than it is in this. And literally, that noise, that horrible noise that makes your seat vibrate. And I had to... I did break my tweeting in the cinema rule for this, but I wasn't actually in the cinema because after the first hour, I had to go and stand outside for a bit because I had to go and sit in the lobby, and I went into the toilet just to put some water on my face and just have a little break. And the urinals were shuddering because it backed onto the cinema. But anyway, there's a whole lot worse to come. Oh. So Shia LaBeouf. Obviously, Patrick Dempsey, the seedy boss, is we're supposed to think that he's a bit dodgy and lecherous and stuff. But if his character was half as lecherous as Michael Bay's direction in this film, it would have been a lot more believable, basically. And then I say narrative and plot. These are words that because I can't describe it any other way. But there's nothing in this film that resembles a plot. But he basically, Shia LaBeouf, gets a job in a mailroom under the sort of anally retentive boss played by John Malkovich, who seems to be John Malkovich is in it. He's the comic relief, but he's not funny. And he's
the and.
He should know better as well.
He's the and John Malkovich.
It certainly is an performance. And so basically, yeah, aside from this, like, you know, Bay is completely incapable of shooting anything sort of conventionally. Every shot has to be from the floor or whizzing around the room or something. Like he just is like a kid that's been given a new toy. And every time there are 3 scenes of what's her face getting out of a car in which the camera is, you can't describe it as anything else but like a paparazzi camera. Like underneath the car, she strides over it. You get a full view up her skirt. I mean, it's just disgusting. But anyway, I mean, I haven't even got to the bad bit of the film yet. This is the first hour. It plods along. I mean, nothing really makes sense. The dialogue is dreadful. Everything about it is terrible. And then we get into the big sort of battle bit. There's all this storyline about these pillars. Optimus Prime resurrects the old leader of the Autobots, who's called Sentient Prime, who's voiced by Leonard Nimoy. Okay. And Leonard Nimoy is very old now, and he can't really get much of the dialogue out. Not in a sort of Rosie Huntington-Whiteley way, as in she can't talk dialogue.
More of a senile way.
More of a way that his voice just gives out a little bit. And so there's all of that stuff, but he betrays them. They get the Decepticon back, Hugo Weaving and all that. Queues up for a big showdown on Earth. So we get through all the... I mean, basically, people criticise the second one for having no plot and no exposition. So the way that they've dealt with this is they'll say, okay, well, we'll give an hour and a half of sort of subplot, but every 10 minutes we'll have robots, you know, fighting each other in the street and blowing up city centres. So they destroy Washington, D.C., and then that's all buggered. So they have to move to another city. So they go to Chicago.
And then they destroy
And that's where it goes from a terrible film to one of the worst experiences I've ever had in the cinema. I mean, all that dialogue that you can basically... I mean, you can just about... I mean, it's clunky and sanctimonious, and they try to do this heart-raising speech with the Hans Zimmer score, but it's just sanctimonious and absolutely dreadful. There's all that... You know, what is this thing where people have to talk about Twitter and Facebooks in films at the moment? It's like, I'm well aware of what age it is, you know. You don't have to try and identify me by talking about websites. And there's like this sort of... you know, obligatory shots of robots in Angkor Wat and Japan taking over the world.
It's worldwide.
Big,
it's not just
Big Ben
America.
And stuff, yeah. In the last hour, it crosses a line, and that was when I really thought I might have to leave. I honestly, for the first time of doing this job in a year, I really thought I was going to have to leave. It was so unbearable. I mean, the first hour and a half is just stupid and offensive at worst. But the last hour is just literally there's a last fight scene, yeah? And it literally goes on for an hour. And
that's far too long.
I mean, it's just, you know, there's people jumping out of planes, there's robots coming down from the sky, there's robots that fly, there's ones that are cars, there's ones that there's a bit where they blow up a building and everyone's in the building, and just like, literally, you could have given the editor this hour of footage and he could have cut it at random any other way and it would have made more sense. There's absolutely no sort of structure to this big fight scene. Oh, it's just one sort of sequence after another. And with that horrible earth-shattering noise in the background, and soldiers shouting, they've got these weird, like, they look like there's flying bat things with like wings. Lots of people shouting. Occasionally, our heroine Carly dangles out of buildings, and she's at her worst when she's sort of doing the sort of damsel in distress peril thing, hanging from a car, screaming for a pug-faced knob twat to come and save her.
And he does.
And yeah, well, he does really. I mean, there are a few little sort of twists that I know people will go and see this, but I'm not really gonna give it away. And in terms of plot, all that stuff about the dark side of the moon, but it doesn't matter at all. I mean, it doesn't even really come back, and you definitely just come out of it stupider than you would. And then, so that's basically the film, and it's horrible. And it's not the worst film I've ever seen in my life, but it's the worst hour I've ever had in the cinema.